Ask the Senate to come to order. Please give the Majority Leader your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. And I first want to thank the Lieutenant Governor for the spirit that he's created within this chamber. I served, he served under Pierre Howard when we had I understand there was a great spirit within the chamber and not very partisan, and part of the Lieutenant Governor's reason for creating this environment was he worked under Pierre and thought well of him. But I served when it was not that way, when things were very partisan, when we went through redistricting and actually had what was many times an awful experience in this chamber. And while many across the country have good reason to complain about what has happened in Washington, where people only do what's good for them and what's good for their reelection and what helps them raise money to beat their opponent, this is really a great place to serve now. And there's great spirit among Democrats and Republicans. I'm the majority leader. My effort is to beat down the opposition party and to build up my party. But that is not what I have to do. Actually, I enjoy what I do because we have such a good spirit in here now. And we're passing good bills. And hopefully, the minority party understands that Lieutenant Governor is serious and that we're able to pass a lot of good legislation and Democrat bills as well. So we appreciate you, Mr. President. But I'm here for a different reason today. One of the great blessings of my life over the last few years is to have children. My daughter, Emma, she talks really well and a lot. And it's been real fun just being amazed at her linguistic skills. And you know, Art Linkletter probably said it best about children. They say the strangest things. But most of the time, you can really get a clear picture of what's right and wrong by listening to children. I bought a big tract of land in the forks of the Ottawa River. It's a beautiful piece of property. The Oconee and the Okmulgee come down together, and they butt together to form the mighty Ottawa. And right in that vortex, I own a piece of property. It's a place where Mary Musgrove had a trading post. It's also the place where many, many Indians lived at one time. And my joy is to go down there and look for artifacts. A few weeks ago, I took Emma down there, and as we were looking around, I described to her that there used to be lots of Indians living here. And I told them how the Indians dressed, and they put a feather in their cap, and it just went into great detail about how they fished along the river, etc. And she asked, you know, children ask strange questions. She said, well, where did they go? I said, well, they went far away. And then she said, why did they go? And I said, well, and without getting to the whole story of the Trail of Tears, I said, some other people took their land and made them leave. And she said, that's not very nice. And I said, no, baby, that's not very nice. And then she said, are they coming back? No, baby, they're not coming back. You know, children can say those kind of things that force us into realizing how bad we often act and how selfish we often are. If I were to tell Emma, there's some really nice people that live out where the Indians now live, and they want to come down to Georgia to help people with their really bad owies. she would probably say, well, that's nice. And I would say, but Emma, there's some other people that don't want them to come here and help people with their really bad owies. And she would probably say, well, that's not nice. Well, folks, I know it's not that simple. You know, Emma, she doesn't understand what CONs are. She doesn't understand what Medicaid is. She doesn't understand what Medicare is. She doesn't know about insurance reimbursements. She doesn't know about indigent care and its percentages. She doesn't know about ambulatory surgical centers, our preferred drug lists, our nonprofits and profits, our lobbyists, or the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, or greed, for that matter. She doesn't understand that the government has made a mess out of the healthcare industry. But she simply knows what's right. And what's right is that people of Georgia have a choice when it comes to their decisions about life and death matters. Now, what I'm here for today is really that. But what frustrated me so bad yesterday was that the Georgia Chamber of Commerce came out against a company that wants to come to Georgia to do good things, to spend a couple of $100 million, hire a bunch of employees to help people with their bad owies. Now, how could the Chamber of Commerce take such a position? They're supposed to be about commerce. They're supposed to represent people who want to come to Georgia and spend money and pay taxes and create jobs, not protecting nonprofits who happen to be powerful and represented by people in the hall on the chamber board. Folks, when we let the folks in the hall use the Chamber of Commerce to dictate policy in this chamber, we're wrong. Emma can see that. It's not that's just they're stopping business. Ten years ago, the chamber endorsed a venue shopping bill, which is completely anti-commerce. They've lost their mission, especially when it comes to giving Georgians a choice about where they go for cancer treatment. And these folks, these nonprofits, I'm not saying anything negative, they do a good job. I will say this, they do not see indigents like they say they do. Piedmont has only seen 2.5% indigents and 2.5% Medicaid over the last few years. And yet they're in the halls complaining about CTCA, who did 4.7% indigent work last year. I don't care how you vote. I don't care how you vote in committee. But I do care when the Chamber of Commerce opposes businesses coming to Georgia. And I do care when people who are dying of cancer have to travel to Tulsa to get some help. We need to wake up and make up your mind based on what your people want at home. And 80% of your voters want another choice. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator.